5 minutes past 12. You're live on the Heartbeat and the All Day Special. And you're live with Christine Saunders coming soon.
We're online 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet radio station.
Rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every part by heart. Overture, curtain lights. This is it. We'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show. This is it. Tonight, what heights we'll hit.
Good morning. There's those claps I like. Yeah.
Oh, the crowd are going mental.
Heartbeats.
Have you heard the crowd going daft for you? Back up, calm down. God forbid. I'll have to get an injection from the vets in a minute.
Oh my gosh. Good morning, everyone. That's the best intro ever. I absolutely love it. This is like the third time we've used it, Dave, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, the thing was, I showed him the photograph of you being topless on holiday, and that's even, it's driven him wild, that.
The cartoon, that's awesome. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Well, everyone, welcome to The Heartbeat with me, Christine Saunders. I have a super special show today. I have my very special co-host, Jonathan Darling, with me, and we are going to be interviewing Scotty Randolph, who is a country music singer, and Jonathan and Scotty actually know each other, so this is going to be a fantastic show. So, Jonathan, would you mind reintroducing yourself, and then could you introduce Scotty for us, please?
Yeah, I am super excited about this morning. One, to be back as a co-host again, and just really pumped to be here with Dave and you, Chris. And I am super pumped to introduce Scotty. Scotty and I went to college together and knew each other many, many years ago through many late nights on Ball State University campus out in the Village, having a good time. And it's been really cool to watch him over the last few years really pursue his dream in becoming a country music singer. And it's just been incredibly cool. So having this opportunity is awesome. And so, Scotty, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, brother, I appreciate it. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got you great, man. So, Scotty, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself and let the listeners know kind of who you are and a little bit about you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, John. Yeah, like you said, going way back. So I said, yeah, I'm a country music artist here based out of Indiana in the U.S. and have kind of been going at this thing for a good 5-6 years and really picked up over the past few. And like I said, had a single out about a year and a half ago and just released another one. And I'm just kind of chasing a dream and seeing what comes of it.
Oh my gosh. So let me ask you a question really fast. What does chasing the dream mean?
It's really just playing music I said I do have another job, but playing music for a living, and the idea would be to do this thing as a full-time gig, and I said it kind of is a full-time gig now, but I'm sharing it with another one, and but yeah, really just again being able to share my music with as many people as I possibly can. So.
That is awesome. So we have about an hour today. We've kind of gone into the hour a little bit, but we're going to dive into your musical journey, and I'll ask you some of those really fun questions that we get to ask you. And I know we have a song of yours to play, and we can play that here shortly. So let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, we'll dive into this whole musical journey. Thank you, Jonathan and Scotty. And we'll come back after the Rolling Stones Miss You on Expat Radio.
You're listening to Expat Radio, beaming out across France and around the world.
Haha, welcome back. Oh, Mick Jagger. That was the day, right? Oh my gosh.
70-odd years of age and he's bopping around like a lunatic still. Have you seen that video of him doing warm-ups in front of a mirror?
No, I don't think I could. I don't know that I could watch that.
God forbid. I mean, it's like joining the line.
It's a little disturbing that Dave is watching videos of Mick Jagger dancing in front of a mirror.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a bit of man but brotherly love. I do it a lot. I watch a lot of men in front of mirrors. You want to try it sometime? It might catch you on big time.
Practicing your dance moves.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
This week I'll be mostly reminiscing. Anyway, over to you.
Welcome back to The Heartbeat with our special guest, Scotty Randolph, today, and my co-host is Jonathan Darling. And Scotty, there's like over 86,000 people listening today, so I'm super excited to what Jonathan said in our messages, like share you internationally, like globally. This is awesome. I'm so excited that people get to hear about you. So you said that you have been doing this really like sort of the last 5 or 6 years, but when did you really know you wanted to be a country music singer?
It's kind of crazy. I grew up singing. My mother's a singer, and my brother also, and had just done it always kind of quietly, and then really kicked off when I moved back. I lived down in Florida for a little while after moving around with the military and things, and came back from there and grabbed a guitar. My sister-in-law actually gave me a guitar and kind of taught myself to play it. And that was about 8 or 9 years ago. And I really kind of just realized I loved it. I always loved singing, and then to be able to put music with it. And the first time I ever went out and kind of built up the courage to go to an open mic night and play some songs and got some feedback and saw the smiles on people's faces, it kind of makes you realize, how much I enjoyed it, and made me realize that, it's something I wanted to keep doing and then get better at. Because, you see the smiles once, you want to make sure you bring them every time. And so it's just really become a passion.
What was that first open mic like, Scotty, when you were like, okay, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to share this, and I'm going to kind of put myself out there, be a little vulnerable. What was that like?
It's nerve-wracking for sure. John, you probably remember the old days of Ball State days of karaoke, and the karaoke nights at one of our bars, the locker room, and that was probably the extent of my live singing outside of jamming out in the car with my friends or something. So it was nerve-wracking, worrying that again the guitar piece was something I wasn't completely used to, and so it really was just a matter of kind of. I thought about it a couple times, didn't do it, and finally you just get out. You say, let's just wing it. It's 3 songs generally with those things. Like it's a short set, and you pick 3 songs you're good at, and hope they like it. And I said it's nerve wracking until you get going, and I think that's the case with a lot of things. It's maybe the first couple of minutes is rough, but then once you're into it and you're doing something that you love, and I'm sure you relate with whatever the passion would be, speaking or whatever that might be. It's so once you're in it, you love it, and you don't want it to stop. So.
See, Scotty, right? I've had an idea, right? For this would be massive.
Oh gosh,
I was warned about this.
Right? No one's picked up on this yet, but no one in the States has thought of doing a country version of the US anthem. How massive would that be if that was if it was redone like a remix of the US anthem? And a country version of it? I think that'd be absolutely massive, but no one's thought of doing that, have they? Hey?
I'm thinking maybe there's a reason no one's thought of it yet, but who knows? I'm down to give it a shot. I play it all the time. I sing it a lot. Just you got to be careful with how sensitive some people are now. You can't play it play around with it too much. They might get mad at me.
Yeah, well, don't sing it in North Korea. Don't go there and do it. But I mean, just give it a go, seriously. Rewrite it and do a remix of it and go, hold on a minute, this works. And thank me 12 months later when you're worldwide.
Oh gosh, I have a quick question, Scotty. So when you went to this open mic and you were having that nerve-wracking anxiety, is there something you're telling yourself, like self-talk? Like, do you say something to yourself, or do you just go for it?
I mean, it's kind of great now. I don't get nervous much anymore, just because I'm it's become so many times I've done it. But there's definitely some time. I will say that singing the anthem is always not my own version, just the original. And but that don't get you nervous because I've done it for some professional sports games and things like that, and that one you kind of, especially that one, you have some leading up moments to it, and the moment right before you start is always nervous. And I think it's just a conversation with yourself of you've done this 1,000 times, you know what you're doing, and honestly, in a way, I kind of zone out and just kind of have to have trust and faith in my talent and what I can do, and get after it that way. And then, like I said, once you're 5 to 10 seconds in, it all kind of disappears, and you're doing it, and you don't want it to stop. So that's, like I said, it's just normally short-lived, but it's just, again, I think just having faith in what you can do and
can you play a banjo?
I'm working on it.
There you
go.
Well,
not well enough for all these listeners yet.
Seriously, you imagine the intro coming in with a banjo for the US anthem. Happy days.
I bet it's been done somewhere. We might have to find that. No. Voiceover.
You have to do your original version. That would be awesome.
Right now, it would be really embarrassing because I said my banjo skills are extremely limited, but I'm working on it. So.
Awesome. So I have a quick question for you to think about, and then I want to take a quick break. And I'm not sure if we're going to play your song now or later. So Dave, think about that. But here's my question, Scotty. So you said that you were in the military. I'm going to get deep a little bit. So you said you were in the military. Mm-hmm. And coming back and getting a guitar and teaching yourself how to play, how did that help with transitioning from military life back to civilian life?
Well, I was in a kind of a weird spot with my military. I was medicaled out at a certain point, and, so without getting too involved, but so it was I'd say the biggest shake. Well, I didn't have a lot of what my friends did, and situations of dealing with the full-on transition from being overseas and being back or seeing warfare, or anything like that. But it was that my side was more of somewhat of a feeling of guilt, I guess you could say, of not kind of fulfilling what I set out to do originally. Right. So when I was medicaled out, there's a little bit of a feeling, and so it was a big piece of kind of feeling like unfulfilled. And gotcha. It was music was definitely a piece to help me change that. I think I very oftentimes, and I think the reason I got better than or good quickly was because I would literally get lost in it for hours at a time. Some days, just listen or pick up the guitar, and I was determined to get better at that. And it's definitely therapy, and I think any musician that really loves it would tell you that it is their therapy. And I think everybody has outlets, but music is definitely a huge one for me. So
awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. I know that wasn't sort of something that we discussed pre-show, but I appreciate you sharing that. So tell us about Rollin With Me, and then we're going to play it.
Yeah, so Rollin With Me, we just released this past Friday. It's been written here for a little bit, but I co-wrote it with a friend of mine and producer, Tom Doherty, who is former, used to play out all over the place with plays like the band Perry, and did some shows with some other big artists. Amazing lead guitarist, but also an outstanding producer. And we had done one song together about a year and a half ago, and we've done a couple songs, but that one we released about a year and a half ago. And we really wanted to write this song. It's not so much the traditional, they call it GCD country song, just real straightforward, and that's the chords of GCD. And but it was also kind of a thank you to all those people. Like I said, the song is called Rollin With Me. It's a thank you to all those people that kind of had your back, and like we were saying, it can come kind of from anywhere. And me and John, for instance, we friends from a long time ago. And while we don't catch up like all the time, social media helps keep involved. But I can follow him, and he follows me, and like even that, someone seeing him as an inspiration, and the occasional message saying, "Hey man, you're doing great," or "Love seeing what you're doing," and things like that. It's always there's a line in there that says, "A hand out to get me back on my feet," and it can come from anywhere. People that are super close to you, or people that used to be, or sometimes it's not someone you never even met. So it's kind of a thank you to those people, and a little bit more of a feel good, low key song, and we're excited about it. So like I said, see what happens.
Yeah, it's awesome. So let's take a listen to Rollin With Me, and we'll be right back with Scotty Randolph and Jonathan Darling on the Heartbeat.
I can't hold my head up high, clear the road and find my way. Sure as day becomes the night, yeah, I know everything's gonna be okay. 'Cause money comes and money goes. Oh, and love's a fickle thing. But I know the ones that care the most are all I'll ever really need. No matter how hard I fall, it don't matter at all. There's a hand out to get me back on my feet. I can do anything as long as you're rolling with me. Now check this out. Sometimes life can get me down. Feels like I'm out here on my own. You order up another round, yeah. Grab my hand and lead me home. No matter how hard I fall, it don't matter at all. There's a hand out to get me back on my feet. I can do anything as long as you're rolling with me. Oh, here we go. All right, let's take 'em out. No matter how hard I fall, it don't matter at all. There's a hand out to get me back on my feet. I can do anything as long as you're rolling with me. Oh yeah, I can do anything as long as you're rolling with me. Oh yeah, I'll do anything as long as you're rolling with me. Yeah, that was fun.
The best variety of music and conversation.
You're listening to Expat Radio, beaming out across France and around the world.
Oh, how awesome is that?
Just put my banjo down. Hold on a minute.
Oh my gosh.
That was quality. Seriously, how good was that?
Right?
Appreciate it.
Oh, the relief. I was thinking, if this is... And we've got a superstar on the show. Thank God for that.
Right. Yes.
Oh, God, there's
Superstar.
nothing... Oh, I'm just relieved. Just put it that way. I'm just relieved. We've just got $1 million single seller here now. And, thank God it's not a karaoke Friday nighter.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. That Scotty, that song is just awesome. And like, I know when Jonathan said, "Hey, check out my friend," that was like, and Jonathan knows I'm a serious music geek, country music nerd, like to the nth degree. And I was like, "Wait, you didn't tell me about him?" So it was awesome. So yeah, I'm excited. Jonathan, thank you so much for introducing and sharing
I hope I hope Jonathan's got in there as your manager, Scotty. Is he? What's going on there?
I'm going to be the publicist for him.
Publicist?
And however you say that word. And it's really fun. I was sitting here and just watching the dialogue back and forth, and being able to listen to the song on the radio. And obviously Scotty and I go way back, and like you said, we've been able to keep in touch with each other through social media. And Scotty's been somebody who's always reached out to me through my speaking and different things, and been like, man, love what you're doing, keep it up. And we've kind of been that, and to sit back and know that so many people are getting to listen to a song, seeing somebody chase their dreams, and hear the reaction that to people that I value their opinion. Man, it's just a cool experience to just kind of sit back and watch the ride a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Scotty, a couple more questions, because this show is all about you and your fantastic music. So there's country music, and then there's country music, and then there's country music. So for you, define what country music is.
I get this question sometimes. I'd say it's my big thing is I'm not a huge genre fan. I don't love to tie into genres, and there's songs sometimes I write, and even other guys that I listen to that, you'll hear a song, and in Nashville, obviously the mecca of country music, I'll hear even some guys I respect really well say, no, that ain't country, that ain't country music. And it's really, country music is just kind of what you make of it. And if it's country to you, then it's a country music song. And I think that's when country was in its heyday back in the days, Waylon and Willie and those guys, there was a lot of crossover back in those days. And I think really it's a feeling more than, if I make a song and people don't think it's country, then so be it. But if I make a song and they think it's the most country song ever, then I'm fine with that too. So it's, I think, again, I love it because of what I've gotten out of it. I love the idea behind it. Again, the lyrics have always been a big piece of country music. And that's one thing I love about it. And, because I'm definitely that guy that hears a song and it could be even the melody might not be great, but if I hear the lyrics and they mean something to me, I can listen to it over and over again. So to me, that's what it is. It's just, it's country music's kind of whatever you think it is, or what, it's different for every person. But I said I'd love it if genres just disappeared and it was just, hey, it's just all music.
So knowing that, Scotty, like when obviously, you kind of made me think, and I'll show my cards here. You kind of said, if it sounds like country music to you, it's country music, and it makes me think of my wife is a huge Luke Bryan fan, and I've gone to a few of his concerts, and one of his songs, "Whatever Makes You Country," kind of speaks to that a little bit. That it doesn't matter where it comes from or why you decided to be country; it's whatever makes you country. Who is somebody for you in country music that you look to and you're like, yeah, like that person kind of has walked the road that I would like to walk, or that person's an inspiration. Who do you draw some of that inspiration from?
It's crazy. There's so many. There's famous names out there for sure. Guys that I really look up to. Chris Stapleton I've been following him. I met him back in Nashville about 4, 5, 6 years ago, and have followed him ever since. Even back in his days with the Steel Drivers and his bluegrass days and things like that. But he's a guy I've just always respected. A, for his talent, but B, for his personality, the way he approaches music, the way he, you can tell it's a passion and how much he enjoys it. And, but it goes people as large as that. And I can name off, dozens of big time country music artists, but I could also name off, friends of mine. Tom, my producer, to watch what he's done. Again, he's not a country artist, but Corey Cox is a country singer, a good friend of mine. He actually co-wrote my first single with me. And he's a guy I follow and have even though he's a few years younger than me, he's kind of my senior in the music industry, and so I followed him a lot. And B.B. King had a quote one time back in the day that said, they said, how'd you find your voice? And it really is, it's me trying to emulate, 150 different guys over the course of my career and realizing I can't sound like them. And I just kind of says and I end up sounding what I sound like, and it really is. It's there is an emulation. It's definitely a what do you want to call it? Just an appreciation for what they can do. And there's a moment where you're like, well, maybe I'll do it like that, and you realize, well, that's not me. And but again, it's definitely a form of respect and taking little pieces out of what they do. And again, while I can name off a couple dozen big country music singers, I could probably name off 50 friends of mine and people that I've met and other talented musicians around me that I am real impressed by.
That's awesome. I'm just kind of sitting here just like, man, this is so cool.
I know, right? It's crazy. I think it's really interesting that, everyone tries to sort of compare themselves to someone else, but really finding your unique voice is what makes country music so amazing. And for me, I am all about the lyrics and all about the story that country music tells. And so that's sort of where I go with that kind of stuff. So that's Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, it's very, very cool.
Can I just say something, right?
Of course.
I'm being serious now. I'm not fooling around. Everyone's taking a deep breath, going, "Oh, jeez, what's he going to say now?" Right? Well, call me daft, call me stupid, but I'm very quick at picking up a hit in my head, and I know if something's going to do well or if it's going to boom. And basically, the one thing that I've picked up on, especially with this song that Scotty's done, and other songs that I know that have gone up and done well in the charts, is two very simple things in the making of the song. Is number one, you keep it as simple as possible, but number two is the drum beat that becomes a main focus and doesn't get hidden behind all this complicated instrumental stuff that people try and throw in there, and it gets lost. If you listen to some of the biggest hits in the world, the biggest ones that are out there are all dictated by the drums. And when I heard that song by Scott, within the first 15, 20 seconds, you saw what I wrote because I heard the intro, and I thought, hit. And then he started. That was 10 seconds after he'd started singing. And I'm like, yeah, that's a hit all day long because it was dictated by the drums and then the guitar coming in, and then he started singing, and I thought, that's it, simple as anything, hit.
Awesome.
So yeah, I appreciate that.
No, seriously, man, absolutely tremendous. I was that when people try and complicate things and try and be clever, then it falls around them. When you've got something like that you've done there, and it's just a feel good song that just blows everybody away by the end of it. It's like, well, it's a hit all day long.
Awesome.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool to hear that. We actually, with the thought behind this was just simple. We actually record even the vocals themselves. Chris Thomas is the drummer on this, and he's an outstanding drummer. But he has a certain feel to the way he plays, and it is a lot of just, hey, I'm just going to let it speak for itself. But we just wanted a song. We only recorded a few times through. It wasn't a whole lot of changing around and doing this and changing this. It was a lot of just, hey, let's just, you notice we're kind of talking in the middle of it. A lot of that was just recording me, just having fun in the studio on the mic and seeing what came out of it. And I probably said some stupid things too that didn't quite make the cut. The mute button's nice, but a lot of that was just having fun with it and playing it straight through. And again, kind of the idea of, hey, what would we do if there were 100 or 500 people sitting here listening to us? How would we play it? And that's kind of where we got it from. So.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I'm excited. Our time is flying by this morning, so we've taken another quick break. And when we come back, we're going to sort of ask a few more questions and wrap this up because we only have like 15-ish minutes left. So let's go listen to Ed Sheeran, I Don't Care, and we'll be right back.
Around the world.
Right, we're going back live to the guys this morning.
Welcome back to the Heartbeat with Christine Saunders. I am your co-host this morning, Jonathan Darling, and we are here having a conversation with my friend Scotty Randolph. And Scotty, we've been talking about lots of things and just talking about your music and your journey and all that different stuff. how can any of our listeners who have heard you, loved your music, how can they follow you? Are you on like Instagram and Facebook and all those things? How can they connect with you?
Oh, I'm everywhere, man. So we got the usual, all the usual follows. My website is just ScottyRandolph.com, ScottyRandolph.com, and then Twitter is Scotty_Randolph. Instagram is Scotty Randolph Music, and really anywhere you Google it, it'll pop up. Facebook, you just search for Scotty Randolph, I'll pop up there. So not a whole lot of Scotty Randolphs out there. So fortunately, I pop up pretty quick. But yeah, try and do what I can on all the social media outlets, and some are tougher than others. But you do what you can with it. So, but yeah, I'm definitely out there if you want to look.
That's awesome. And now your single, you have it on iTunes, Spotify. Like they can download it from pretty much anywhere, right?
Yeah, literally, it's available on I believe something like 28, 29 different platforms. So pretty much, yeah, you can find it just about anywhere. Just again, same thing. Just search Scotty Randolph, and I'm the only one of me, and you'll find it out there. So
I have a quick question about that. Scotty, so in the days of streaming music and people don't necessarily buy music anymore, can they buy your single somewhere to support you?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm as far as iTunes is the best place to iTunes or Google Play or any of those the main Amazon Music. You can purchase it all there. It's that good old 99-cent
sweet
popular number. Yeah, so. But yeah, I love it. Any way you listen to it. Hell, I don't care if people, ideally you stream it and download it and everything. But you can find it on YouTube if you're running a little short on change. You can listen to it there if you need to. So I just love for people to hear it.
Well, I've got a request.
Scotty,
sorry,
go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, right, on the 31st of August, there's a very special charity auction happening in France for a little girl that's got cerebral palsy called Violet. And her grandfather is walking from the village where they live in Parthenay back to the UK, which is 700 and something kilometres, but it works out 1 million yards. And we've been asked by different companies and businesses and publications to cover it from over here. We're going to be at the event, and we've got Charles Hanson, who's an auctioneer off the TV on the BBC. He's going to be holding the auction, so I've asked him to do it. We're going to be holding the event, playing the music and doing everything. And then when the guy arrives, when the grandfather of Violet arrives in the UK at Hastings, it's going to be on the TV in the UK. Now, what I was going to say to you was, how would you fancy donating for the single and a signed photo of yourself to be auctioned at the event when we do it on the 31st of August?
Absolutely. That's such a cool thing. You said 700 plus miles. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, I'd love to be involved in anything like that. And I'd love to.
Brilliant. Well, we'll talk about that later on. I'll arrange it with you off air, and we'll get that sorted.
Sure thing.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Thank you for doing that. And Dave, thanks for bringing that up. That's a very cool charity. That's almost speechless. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, well, it's massive. It's massive in the UK. The coverage has been enormous on the TV and radio in the UK, and we've been asked to cover it over here in France. And I thought, right, well, for something that Scotty's doing, I thought this is, and the actual theme of the single as well. Just it makes sense, doesn't it?
Perfect. Yep.
It's like the theme song. That'd be very, very cool. That's awesome. Awesome. Jonathan, what were you going to say, hon?
Yeah, so Scotty, you had mentioned something a little bit earlier about your music and going up there and when you started playing and seeing those smiles on the audience, and I know something when I do my speaking and different things, for me it's always it's not about me up there on stage. It's about that one person, connecting with that one person and trying to make a difference in their life. Maybe not the entire crowd, but when you go up there on stage and you look out at the audience, what type of connection are you hoping to make with them? What type of focus for the audience does your music have for you when you're on stage?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a guy that I whether I'm doing covers or my originals, songs you're playing, it's you said the connection. I'd rather play a show for 3 people and they're and feeling it and getting something out of it than play for 500 and no one's paying attention or 5,000, whatever it is. I've played shows for huge crowds and I'm background music, and it's not nearly as fun as, like I said, if I'm in a little small dive bar playing for 6 people and they're requesting every song and loving it and getting into it. That's where I really get the most out of it. So I think, like you said, that connection to be able to, someone requests a song, especially, something they request a song that really means something to them, and I've seen tears come to people's eyes when you play something, and just to know that music can mean something that much to somebody or that my voice can mean that much to somebody. It's a really cool feeling, and one of the many reasons that I do what I do. So
that is awesome. I have a quick question, or maybe just an observation. I love to listen in small venues like you're describing, because it's more intimate and you can sort of like connect, even though like the musician or the artist on stage isn't connecting. Maybe with you the whole time it feels like there's that connection. And I've had a conversation with a few other artists, and they just happen to be country music artists, and there's always those few people in the crowd who are not paying attention or making a scene or just talking over your music almost. Yeah. And so what does that feel like as an artist up on stage? Like, do you just like plow through, or it's like whatever, it's their jam?
Yeah, but the great thing about music, and it's again, when you're doing something you're passionate about and something you love, if no one's listening, which again I think every artist in the world's been through at some point or another, you kind of turn. I'd be doing this whether I was getting paid or doing it publicly or not. I'd be sitting in my living room on the couch, playing the guitar and singing to myself. So when it turns into one of those, you just kind of do that. You say, you know what, I'm just going to kind of sing what I want then, and people can enjoy it, or, and then sometimes it turns, you don't even know, because you never know when someone is listening. And, they seem quiet and uninvolved and don't care, but then suddenly you put a song out or you play a certain one and it catches an accord with somebody, and they suddenly you got them. And so it's kind of like a little fun game you can play with yourself. Who can I grab? Who can, what's going to happen here? Or then sometimes you think there's nothing, and then you go off to take a break, and someone comes up to you and say, "You're absolutely incredible," and it's a cool feeling. So you just say, you never know when people are listening. Some people are shy about their responses, but yeah, so it's like I said, it'd be something I'm doing regardless. So they can listen or not, but obviously I love it when they do. So.
What's funny about that is, and not to break the incredibleness of that answer, but like for Scotty, when he says, he'd be doing this for free, whether he was getting paid, he'd be sitting in his living room, even if he was by himself, playing guitar, singing to himself. See, the difference between that, he gets called an artist when he does that. But for myself, who's a motivational and public speaker, when I'm sitting at home in my living room, just talking to myself, I'm considered crazy.
Oh, well, and I'm in the same boat as you.
It's like, man, he's considered an artist. I'm considered a lunatic who talks to himself in his living room.
Oh my God, Jonathan, that's so funny. So, Scotty, what's next for you? Do you have a plan, big plans?
Yeah, so just keep on singing. I always say that. I'm just going to keep on singing, but hopefully we can. We've got a few songs we're working on now that we're going to put out. Playing a little everything we can, any chance we can. I said it's just getting out and still, writing more music. I'm trying to write every day, whether it turns into anything or not. It's I try and put something on paper, and just kind of seeing what happens, enjoying the ride. Like I said, you never know. There's little lulls here and there, and then there's booms and whatever you want, quiet periods. So it's but regardless, it's fun. So we've got plenty of shows playing coming up over the next few months, and then making some trips to Nashville, and we'll kind of just see what happens. And like I said, got some music coming out end of the year, and some big plans for next year as far as new songs and things. So
awesome. Are you headed out west at all, or are you just staying east?
Oh, well, I was just talking. I got some friends in California. I was just out in Tahoe recently, and we're just talking to some people about maybe trying to make a little west run, just out through, that whole area. So nothing planned immediately, but definitely in the talks with some people. And like I said, I played out in California once and would love to do it again. So
awesome. Any Colorado? Maybe Colorado.
Yes, I know
like
you're
on
out
the way?
in Colorado. Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. I love Colorado too, and I'd love to make a stop out there. And generally, if you do it, you can make a run, and you try and hit as many spots as you can on the way out. So, so yeah, Colorado, I love it out there. I'd love
Colorado through Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yes. Just a quick detour.
Just a small one. It's kind of on the way when you think about it.
Yeah.
Depends on what airline you take, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Or which way you want to drive. If you want to take the scenic route, it's like the long way home, right?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. So Jonathan, any last questions for Scotty before we have to unfortunately wrap up our hour? We could have talked forever.
No last question, but I just got to tell the listeners, like, look, following Scotty and watching him do this, like, this is somebody that you can get behind. This is somebody who I've known for years, and being able to watch this journey. And I'm telling you, if you want to see somebody chase their dreams and do it unapologetically and put everything that they have into making this happen, follow Scotty, support him. It's incredible to watch, and I'm glad just to be a viewer that gets to see this incredible road he's walking here.
Yes, I'm excited. Now you're on my list, and so Scotty, thank you so much for getting up early with Jonathan and I, and giving us the pleasure of sharing you with the world today. It's been an awesome hour. Dave, any last words before we go to our last song?
We are gathered here in the sight of God today to promote this
yes.
Give me management, somebody. JD, get in there, lad. Get a contract signed and get him signed up, lad, because I'm going to get him massive. By the time I'm finished today, this is going to be potty.
Deal. So, Scotty, you hear that? I'll send you the contract for my management.
Got it. Hey, let's send it over. The ink is wet. So.
Oh, my gosh.
Job done.
Awesome. I'm very, very excited. Thank you again, Scotty. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Dave, for always steering the ship so straight and on the line 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Right? Got to veer a little bit. So we have one last song to play today, and everyone, like Jonathan said, follow Scotty, and things are going to happen really fast. I just know it. So we've got Bryan Adams, The One Thing Looks Good on Me Is You, to take us out. Thank you, everyone. Have an awesome day.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for a brilliant show. Adios.
Bye,
and all
Dave.
the best.